All right, we are creeping up on that first alert weather day system.
Yes.
That is calling for severe storms. We told you about it yesterday, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And Darren talked about it a little bit this morning here at the News 10 Plus digital desk, but now we're really starting to see it impact our area, right?
Yeah, and we've got a couple of showers going through right now, a couple storms in southern sections, but nothing severe. No severe weather until we get towards this evening. That's the second wave, and we've sort of been touting that throughout this, right? I mean, if you caught us at 11 a.m. and even in the morning show with Darren, and heck, even last night, we were discussing a little bit that the second of these two waves of storms is going to be the one that has a little bit more of a kick to it. Now, we're hoping that this one that's going through now maybe drags its feet, because if it's slow to depart, keeps that atmosphere turned over and it doesn't have time to recover and it stays pretty stabilized, we will not have as significant or even any severe threat this evening at all. That's, of course, optimistic thinking. You never know what can happen, but if we are able to poke some sun out once this first line departs, we're going to have a little more fuel for what comes later, and that's going to be our threat for the hail, wind, and maybe even a weak tornado. And so that's what we're keeping an eye on, giving you the first alert about heading into this evening.
It's the I in SLIM.
Yes, instability, exactly right.
All right.
And yeah, so we've
got.
It
took me 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's certainly one of the ingredients that's there. We have not had the moisture most of the day.
Okay.
Now we're getting that in, so that's the M. That's going to be coming in as the dew points rise. The lift is going to be the little disturbance itself as it comes through, and then of course we have the shear, which there's not a ton of, but again,
it doesn't have to be a lot. That just has to be there.
Yeah, you need to have some there in order to really get something to come together. And again, so all those will be in play this evening. It's just a matter of, well, how well do they work together? Because sometimes they don't, and hopefully that's the case for us. But of course, we want you to be prepared. That's why today is, again, a first alert weather day. So here's a look at satellite and radar live. You can see that area of showers moving through. There have been a couple lightning bolts, most recently down in Hillsdale County, just south of the county seat there, Hillsdale itself. And you, again, can see that off towards the southwest corner. There's already quieter conditions moving through. Kalamazoo is on the back edge of that rain shield now, and the heart of the rain is moving right through the center of mid-Michigan. Now, a wider view, at least a little bit of a wider view, shows you what's going on a little further out towards the west here. We've got a couple of storms firing up out in parts of Illinois off that way to our south and west, and you can see that one of them, which I'll try to zoom in on here. I know it's can be a little tough with the iPad we're using here, but we'll try to zoom in and get you a good view here of this severe warned cell that appears to be moving towards the Rockford area, if you know where that is in north central Illinois.
Fun fact, my baby cousin was born in Rockford.
There you go. Very nice. Yep, and so that's a storm that looks to me like it's probably got a pretty solid hail core. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for that area right now, moving across the region. And so, again, that is sort of what we're seeing at this time. So moving towards Rockford again is this area of storms. And once again, that's what we have going on right now. And so continuing to keep an eye on things going on out there. Now, again, we're going to zoom out one more time back to our original view, and you can see that there are a few storms, again, firing up at the bottom left of your screen coming into view. We are going to have a break here once this system, this first leg of the system kind of moves out, and we're hoping during that time to hold on to some cloud cover. That'll be one of the keys, because if the sun peaks out, we start to get that instability to develop, and if we keep that out of the picture, we will really quite literally dampen down the issue this evening, and so that would be good for us to have. Now, we wanted to again show the updated Storm Prediction Center outlook. They have expanded their enhanced risk just a little bit. It's still south of the state line, although you see just a very tiny sliver of Hillsdale County down there, the far southwest. Now, you're splitting hairs, to be honest, when you're right on the border of where these risk lines are. It doesn't mean that's exactly to the mile or even to the 5 miles where the storms will be severe. This is more or less a probability for severe weather. In the orange enhanced, you tend to get a little bit more of widespread severe weather, and so they will likely expect to deal with some issues down in Indiana tonight, just south of the border. However, the slight risk means that we have scattered severe activity, the yellow, and in the marginal green, which is north of Lansing and I-96, that's where you have an isolated storm that could become severe by general rule. And so the green is isolated.
Dark green.
Yes, the dark green is isolated, the light green general thunderstorm risk. Dark green isolated, the yellow is a scattered, the enhanced is more widespread, a moderate is not only widespread but numerous, and then a high risk like they had in the Plain States yesterday. If you've seen any of the stories coming out of Oklahoma and Kansas today, is very, very bad news. The last high risk before yesterday that took place was on March 31st in 2023, and so it had been over a year since a high risk had been issued in the United States before yesterday. So that was a very bad severe weather day, and anytime you see that, you want to head for the hills if you're able to do so. Now, we haven't had a high risk here in I don't know how long. It's been a very long time, but once again, of course, that's causing some deaths over there and some issues.
We have a story on our website under the National tab. A second tornado in 5 weeks damages Oklahoma town, causes 1 death as powerful storms hit central U.S. So check that out.
Yeah, and so that, of course, is something we hope to avoid as we head into this evening. In the meantime, again, that severe weather outlook for us means that we all do want to give you that first alert and have you be severe weather aware heading into this evening because, again, the potential for storms is certainly there in the forecast. And so here's a look at those late-day thunderstorms. Now, the timeout for us here is about 2 to 9 p.m., so we're already within that window, but as you know, because what we're showing outside right now, we're not seeing anything severe across our area with this first wave. So the time adjustment will look more like maybe 4:30 or 5 o'clock to 9 for that second wave to come through. And with that second wave of storms, which would be strong to severe, we expect gusty winds and hail, and then a tornado possible. Now this would be a weak isolated tornado if anything does spin up, but of course any weak tornado still has got winds that are close to 85 miles an hour, so we want to be mindful of that out there. And so that's what we're kind of keeping an eye on heading into this evening. So here's the current hour by hour, and again, as you can see outside, we've got this shield of rain right over the top of our head right now. As we head throughout these next couple hours, we'll get a bit of a break, but then here's the 6:30 or so time frame. You see some more potent storms moving into the area, and again, this is all really conditional, really dependent on whether or not we're able to stir up the atmosphere again, if we have enough time for it to recover. Now, we are going to be past the peak heating of the day, which is good for us. It's bad for the folks off in Illinois who, again, are seeing them start to really flare up now. But here, we seem to be like we're in a more favorable area than the folks south and west. And you notice that down south and west in the state, they may be dealing with some sort of watch in some capacity. Not our area, but southwest of here over the next few hours. Of course, we'll keep an eye out for that. But here headed into the evening, by 11 p.m. tonight, take a look at this future radar. We have nothing going on. It's just very quiet. Things have become calm once again, and that should be the case overnight. In fact, not only that, but once these storms are out of here, we start tomorrow with very quiet conditions, and tomorrow's high temps likely make it back to the mid-70s with sunshine on a very quiet Wednesday. Great recovery day, a lot like yesterday in many ways, but with even fewer clouds. And so we should be able to enjoy tomorrow a lot more than this evening, and hopefully we can avoid the brunt of the storms heading into the evening. So the 10-day here is going to show once again that first alert weather day. Sunny tomorrow, got a little bit of rain Thursday. That's going to keep us in the 50s, but we'll be quickly back to the 60s Friday through the weekend. Might have to dodge a sprinkle on a couple showers Saturday, and then maybe a sprinkle very early Sunday on Mom's Day. But the Mother's Day holiday looks good in the late morning and afternoon, getting to the mid-60s, partly cloudy, and we'll be back in the 70s before we know it next week as the month of May continues to march on. Once again, we're keeping our eyes and ears on the skies out there tonight for that first alert weather day. You'll want to be sure to tune in all of our newscasts this evening, including Studio 10, because we will be discussing the nowcasting leading up to that event during 3 o'clock. If any storms start to motor in as you get closer to 4, well, you want to tune in with us at 3 and maybe check out while you're at it some of the fun things Studio 10 is up to today as well. They're very hard at work putting together a good show for you. We hope to see you at 3 o'clock for that. But if you're unable to tune in with us or you got some plans, you're busy, whatever, of course, we hope you'll tune in for our 4 p.m. and 90 minutes of news if you can't. First Alert Weather App's also a great tool to have that's really handy, and it's absolutely free. You can get all the updates that we just talked about right there in the palm of your hand or your back pocket or your counter, wherever you keep your phone. Don't lose it. You're going to want to have it on hand, especially in an evening like this where there is that threat for severe storms. And so again, that is free in Google Play and the App Store, and a wonderful tool for you to have. But myself and Andy will be holding the fort down this evening. So again, hopefully you'll watch us on air on TV 10 as we go throughout this event. And again, of course, as always, we hope that we limit the threat that we're going to have, but of course we are here to give you that first alert. This is why we do it, and we want to make sure you're prepared. And so tune in with us this evening. We'll have all that information for you.
Also, as it's a First Alert Weather Day, you can go to the First Alert Weather app, which we always say it's free, which is great for apps.
Yes.
But it's also very, very user friendly. But if you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, you can enter to win a First Alert weather umbrella.
Oh,
And
they're nice.
under that, it's a blue square right now. I got to go talk to Creative about why that is. But that's where you can submit weather photos and videos. So if you do get hail, please let us know. Take a picture of it. Make sure you put it next to a household object so we can see how big it is. Let us know where you took the picture or where you're taking everything from, and send it in, and you guys can use it.
Yeah.
It helps you guys track everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, I want to answer a question for Kyla, who's on here. Severe weather for the Holt area, kind of like most of us, we're in that risk where we're really close to the marginal and slight category. But if any storms do come through that have some gusty winds or hail or anything of that nature, they'd be closer to dinner time. This first wave, you're all in the clear. But as we head towards dinner time, again, if you're looking out the window, maybe just hope that it stays cloudy. This is one of those instances where we don't want to see the sun. We'll have lots of it tomorrow to enjoy, but we don't want it stirring up the pot and, you know, mixing that atmosphere once again to get some more storms fired up this evening. So we'll keep an eye for you on things, but we got your forecast coming up.
And I just want to point out really quick, there's a couple lows over the weekend, 42, 43.
Yeah.
When are we going to get out of that range? Because I feel like it's hovering just cold enough to like mess with your plants and stuff.
Yeah, pretty soon here, you know, and that's kind of the funny thing is we've been pretty spoiled with temperatures for a while, for many months here, to be honest with you. But you know, the 40s are still 45 is our 44, 45 is currently our average low. So, I mean, we're still at a time of year where we expect to see lows in the 40s, if anything else. It's, of course, nice to have them be a little warmer. Those wake-ups are a little easier on your gardens, gives you a little more time to work with there. But generally speaking, once again, these lows, while they are normal, of course, it's nice to be able to get those 50s, or at least to wake up to. Your garden has a little more longevity, and also it's more comfortable to get outside when you don't have them quite that crisp. I like a good like 50, 51 low temp. That's nice for me personally, but I think we'll be moving away from the 40s lows. Of course, the deeper we go into the month, that doesn't make me sound like a genius. I know we're getting warmer all the while, but I do think
until we're not.
Yeah, right. I do think that once we get into next week, 50s lows are back, 70s highs are back. That looks like it's going to continue most of the rest of this month, and you get further out towards June. I know we're still a ways from June, but you get closer and closer to that, that's when your average lows are in the 50s, and highs are starting to creep into the 70s and closer to 80 degrees the further we go along. And so we're only going forward here as far as the averages go. Of course, Mother Nature can throw us curveballs at any time, but hey, again, that's why you tune back in, right? And that's why we keep you updated no matter what Mother Nature is going to throw at us. And we try to knock it out of the park. Sometimes we swing and miss, but it's not a lot. We usually at least put the ball in play. So that's what we're doing.
I love the baseball reference.
Yeah, of course, got to.
I just want it to be that weather where I can sleep with the window open.
Yeah.
That's what I really like.
Yeah, we're getting close to it. I think we're getting close. We've had a couple nights like that already, but we're getting close to that being the norm and a little more steady. I had to make the baseball, softball references too, because I got to get them in while I can, because I have a good feeling that our WILX News 10 softball team probably will not get our game in tonight due to the expected forecasted inclement weather. So
it happens.
Gonna keep an eye on things, but you know, maybe next week.
Or
maybe
if you have,
next Tuesday.
I know on my drive home I see a lot of like t-ball and soccer practices.
Yeah.
You might want to double check that it's not going to pop up in your area since you're out in the open and everything.
Yeah, those are probably, even if they're post dinner, those are probably in all likelihood getting canceled tonight. I won't speak for coaches individually, but I think that's probably the way to air today with what we have going on. And so that's what we expect. And once again, First Alert forecast updates we'll have coming up at the top of the next hour. And so we hope to see you then for Studio 10 and everything that comes after that. We've got, of course, a lot of reporters here and producers who are working hard for some great shows this evening. We hope to see you then for all of those on TV 10.
All right. Thank you very much, Justin. I'm going to show you the First Alert weather app one more time so that you can see where to get it. It's got interactive radar, severe weather alerts. If you say, follow me, allow it to follow you, it'll actually let you know if there's lightning detected in your area. I think heavy rain as well. And it's very helpful as you're planning everything out.
Yes,
so
yes indeed.
make sure you download that, and Justin will be back giving you weather updates on Studio 10 at 3 o'clock. Thank you, Justin.
Of course, that sounds good. I'll see you then.
All right, and really quick, I'm going to have Riley Connell come in here.
Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I was a little bit damp.
You just came in from the rain, yeah?
I'm just coming from the rain. It's not so bad anymore.
She came in, she's like, did you guys know it's raining out there?
Yeah. It's raining just a little bit. It's not too terrible, though.
Well, you are going to be on News 10 later today. Can you tell us what you are working on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be on News 10 at 5:30. And when you tune in, you can catch a little bit of information about election misinformation, election safety, AI playing a role in election misinformation, all of that coming from the Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, who came down to a voter information town hall earlier today. That was also hosted by State Representative Penelope Cernoglu, who works really deeply with our elections and has worked on implementing some of those Proposal 2 things, which is, for people at home probably know it as the 9 days of early voting, some of those things that go along with Proposal 2. So while we're having an election day today, they took the opportunity to put some of these pieces of information out there for people ahead of our presidential election season, which is creeping up now that we've had our Michigan primary. That presidential election is right around the corner. So
hard to believe, but yeah, it is.
It is. It's come up pretty quickly. And in the next couple of months, it's going to be pretty crucial for campaigning, for people putting, information out there about candidates. So something that she wants people to really look out for is the potential spread of misinformation. Artificial intelligence kind of playing a role in that now.
This might be one of the first elections where we're seeing that, and it's probably only going to get more active.
Absolutely. Kind of talking about, AI-generated photos, maybe AI-generated content.
What about the calls?
Yeah, AI-generated calls. People might have heard of deep fakes, which are artificial intelligence-generated videos. So these videos can come across as looking and sounding exactly like a person, making a speech or, saying something about their, about somebody's campaign. It can be used in a lot of creative ways. And the secretary is warning, not just domestically, but at a national level too. There can be a lot of that misinformation being spread out there. So this conference was kind of about awareness. It was also to put those resources out there to say, if you have questions about your elections or if something doesn't seem completely legit to you, that you can reach out to the Secretary of State office to try to, get some answers for any of the questions that you have. They went over absentee voting.
Okay.
They went over the 9 days of early voting too. So just kind of refreshers for people who are trying to get all their ducks in a row when it comes to elections and how they can actually cast their ballot. So they covered a lot earlier today.
All right. And we do have a voter's guide on our website, WILX.com, as well. If you go to our homepage,
right.
It's right there at the very top, so you can check out everything you need to know. We'll also have results there later on as well.
Yes,
so.
definitely.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Riley.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to let everybody know this is where you can find all of your streaming services. So if you're watching this and maybe you wanted to rewind a little bit to something Justin said earlier, this is where you can watch us. We are on Apple TV, Facebook, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Roku, YouTube, anywhere you can get the WILX app, just download it. And it is free, and you can catch extended versions of our newscasts, our interviews, some behind the scenes stuff, and even some older videos that we call From the Vault. So it's very, very interesting if you wanted to check that out. And then coming up later today on our over 90 minutes of local news, here's what we got coming up. Again, like Riley said, it is election day, so we have special elections starting today. Polls will be closing about 4 hours after First at 4 comes on, so we're going to have more on that. Plus, at 5 o'clock, we had a very excited photographer go to Potter Park Zoo to see their newest resident, and I heard he was very friendly. So you're going to want to check that out. Plus, at 5:30, the Economic Global Delegation visited the area, and Deanna Giles is going to have more about that. And at 6, Aaron Bowling is talking about how schools across Michigan are handling marijuana. So all of that coming up in just a little bit, all starting with First at 4. Don't forget, Studio 10 starts at 3 o'clock. Until then, make sure you check out our website, WILX.com. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later.